Astrid is going to tell the story of how I took charge of my life and ended my husband Eric's harmful influence. For privacy reasons, we'll use fake names. As a well-known lawyer in my state, it's important for me to stay anonymous for various reasons. So, let's skip the details of how Eric and I fell in love, got married, and then divorced. The love wasn't mutual. Eric cheated on me. There were clear signs that something was wrong. He avoided me, spent a lot of time away from home, and often went on business trips. Despite my success as a lawyer, Eric looked down on me because I earned less money than him. One day, during another one of his supposed business trips, I decided to dig deeper. I found a secret Facebook account on his old laptop, which confirmed my suspicions. He was cheating with a woman he thought was more attractive than me, often criticizing my appearance. Heartbroken and angry, I confronted him right away. "Eric, are you cheating on me?" "I have proof," I said. Eric responded coldly. "Astrid, you're just not that interesting anymore. You're always wrapped up in your pointless cases, neglecting me. Besides, you're not a supermodel who can hold my attention with looks alone." Confused, I replied, "What are you talking about, Eric? I have a demanding job, and you knew that when we got married. I haven't neglected you. It's you who stopped coming home and refused to communicate." That's how I found out about Eric's affair. When I confronted him, I expected some guilt or remorse, but his response shocked me. He blamed me entirely, justifying his cheating, which was completely unfair. Instead of defending himself, he turned even colder and casually revealed, "It's good that you found out, Astrid. Now I don't have to hide my beautiful girlfriend. She and I will have a perfect life together after I divorce you. Finally, I'll marry someone who is worthy of me and my name." His words hit me like a ton of bricks, sending a chill down my spine. As he talked about divorce, he not only insulted me but also claimed that I wasn't good enough for him, accusing me of being a bad wife. He showed no regret for his affair and even bragged about how his mistress would be a better spouse. Tears streamed down my face as he demeaned me, proudly admitting to his affair. This was the man I had loved for over a decade, and his words left me shattered. Through my tears, I asked, "How could you say that, Eric? All these years, I've been by your side through thick and thin, honoring my vows and valuing you above all else." His callous response cut deep, dismissing my worth. "Well, Astrid, it doesn't matter anymore. You're just not right for me. I'm now a proud business owner, and a woman with average looks and a pretentious law degree won't do me any good," he said, leaving me feeling utterly demeaned. I protested. "How could you, Eric? I'm a capable woman, even if I don't fit your narrow definition of beauty. I've been a good wife to you, and now you're contemplating divorce." He corrected me coldly. "I'm not contemplating divorce, Astrid. I've already decided. I'm done. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'll file soon and have already hired a great lawyer. You'd better move out before I come home. I don't want to see your ugly face anymore." A few hours later, Eric sent the divorce papers through a friend, who looked at me sympathetically. I numbly accepted the papers, shut the door, and cried miserably, letting the reality of my wasted years with a horrible man sink in. However, I decided I wouldn't let this break me. I was a strong woman who would take control of her life and teach Eric a lesson. When Eric's friend delivered the papers, he mentioned that Eric had talked about drawing out the divorce. Initially puzzled, it dawned on me that we had a prenup. Eric had insisted that I was entitled to half of his business if he cheated, something I had overlooked in my emotional turmoil. It made sense why Eric wanted to prolong the divorce. He hoped I would give up my rightful share. Determined not to let go of what was mine, I immediately called his lawyer and set up an appointment. Within 2 days, I moved out of Eric's house and into my childhood home, which was in my name. I texted Eric, letting him know that I had already moved my belongings, asserting, "I took my ugly face and body out of your damn house." His response was predictable, boasting about his lawyer's reputation. But I calmly warned him, "I won't give you my share of the business, that's for sure. For now, stay away from me." Determined to uphold the prenup, I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. I made it clear to Eric, "I don't want to talk to you. You can only speak to me through my lawyer now, and I expect you to empty my house." His words ignited a surge of boiling rage within me. It's astonishing how anger and hatred can fuel one's determination when faced with such utter contempt. As I steeled myself for the battle ahead, I almost laughed at Eric's ignorance. He had no clue what was coming. Eric had no idea who he was up against, and I doubted that his lawyer, Oscar, did either. I arranged a meeting with Oscar at a cafe. Upon seeing me, Oscar began to visibly tremble, only calming down once he recognized me. Though he tried to appear confident, it wasn't enough. Oscar was a decent lawyer, but he hadn't anticipated facing someone like me. Eric had never considered me influential, so Oscar was utterly unprepared for our encounter. Oscar appeared nervous, and his hands shook, but I refrained from further intimidation. He wasn't to blame for my predicament. "Hello, Oscar. Nice to see you here," I greeted, noticing his surprise. "If you have any doubts, let me clear them for you." "Yes, I am the wife." "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting you to show up," Oscar stammered, flustered by my presence. "The surnames don't match because I got married after I received my law degree. I use my maiden name for official purposes," I explained. I see," Oscar muttered, visibly uncomfortable. "So, I'm guessing you want to drag out this case." "That's what my client has told me." "Your client has been misleading you, Oscar. He's the one who wants to prolong this case. Isn't that what he told you?" I confronted him directly, knowing my reputation as a lawyer spoke volumes. Oscar squirmed under my scrutiny. "You don't have to answer that, Oscar. I've known Eric for over a decade. I married that idiot, for God's sake. I know what goes through his thick head." Concerned for Oscar's predicament, I decided to enlighten him. "Since I know you, and it's not fair to you, I'll tell you the truth about this divorce." "What do you mean, ma'am?" Oscar inquired, clearly taken aback. "Did my dear husband mention to you that he cheated on me?" I asked pointedly, watching Oscar's expression for confirmation. His reaction spoke volumes, confirming my suspicions once again. Oscar was caught off guard by my revelation. It did sting and hurt my ego to admit to a colleague that I had been cheated on. It's not a pleasant experience. However, I knew better than to betray my emotions. No matter how humiliated I felt, I still had the upper hand, and I was well aware of that. "Oh no, I don't think my client has told me about that," Oscar said, clearly uncomfortable. "But he did warn me that you might make some baseless accusations because you want to ruin him." "Oh, you poor thing, Oscar. Your client has played you like a fiddle. Although it might make you happy to know that Eric thinks you're one of the best lawyers out there," I said, feeling a mix of pity and frustration. "Well, that's a big compliment, but I will never measure up to you, ma'am," Oscar confessed. "I wish he had told me that his wife also practices law. He only told me that you work at a law firm." My husband never really took my accomplishments seriously. He had a habit of undermining my work and influence. "It was foolish of me to stay with him," I replied, realizing that Oscar was as much a victim of Eric's manipulation as I had been. I knew I had to focus on the task at hand, securing what was rightfully mine and moving forward with my life. The meeting ended with Oscar understanding the gravity of the situation. I left the cafe, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and determination to face the challenges ahead. However, it was smart of me to sign the prenup. It saved me a lot of trouble. When I mentioned the prenup, Oscar looked completely taken aback. He seemed shocked, as if the term was foreign to him. It didn't take a rocket scientist to know that he had been ambushed once again. Eric had conveniently forgotten to mention the prenup to Oscar, perhaps hoping I had forgotten about it. Well, who knows? It didn't matter since the prenup was now out in the open. Oscar was visibly frazzled. There's a prenup in this marriage? Your husband hadn't mentioned that. Do you have any proof, ma'am? Oscar asked, trying to regain his composure. Oh, I do have plenty of proof, Oscar. I brought the papers along. I had a feeling that Eric would try to avoid dealing with the consequences of his actions. Well, not on my watch, I responded, feeling a mix of satisfaction and resolve. I would really like to see the papers, ma'am. Also, I think I would need to see proof of his affair if you have any, Oscar said, his voice wavering slightly. Don't worry, Oscar. I brought everything. Like I said, it isn't me who wants to drag out this divorce. The sooner it happens, the better it is for me. I handed over all the evidence to Oscar, from messages to pictures and documents. I had all the proof right in my handbag, casually giving them to Oscar, knowing that the case would always go in my favor. Oscar studied each document thoroughly before sighing and looking rather defeated. He then looked at me and said, I see that you have solid proof of everything, ma'am. I had no idea about all of these things. I figured that out, Oscar. I also know how difficult it is to work with unreliable clients, especially when the opposing party has a strong lawyer on their side, I said, sympathizing with his predicament. You're right about that, ma'am. I think that's all I needed to talk about today. I believe I need to have a serious conversation with my client before deciding how to proceed with this case. I'm sure someone will contact you soon, although I can't say that it will be me, Oscar replied, hinting at the possibility of stepping back from the case. I understood what Oscar was hinting at, but chose not to comment. I thanked him for his time and proceeded to walk out of the cafe. I went straight to work and started preparing my own documents for the divorce. The lingering sadness was gone. Now there was a rage within me that drove me to ensure Eric suffered for what he had done. I knew he had no way out of this mess he had created. It took Eric one day to get back to me. He called me on my number, despite telling me not to contact him directly. It was funny, but not surprising. I knew Eric would find himself in this situation sooner or later. When I answered his call, he sounded very angry. What the hell did you say to my lawyer, Astrid? My. Look who's calling after telling me to stay away. What happened with your lawyer, Eric? Stop playing around, Astrid. Tell me what you told him that made him quit today. Your lawyer quit today? How sad, Eric. I guess you should have been upfront about your situation and who they would be up against. You don't know what you're saying. You are a nobody. I won't let you take away my family business. Oh, I'd like to see you try, Eric. Go ahead, hire a better lawyer, and doubt me. Just wait and watch. I'll destroy you in court, and you'll come begging for mercy. Well, sounds like a plan, Eric. Good luck with that. But a word of advice from one lawyer to another. Remember to tell your new lawyer about your affair and the prenup. With that, Eric simply hung up on me. It made me chuckle. He was in deep trouble but still didn't realize it. He would try every lawyer in town and see if anyone would represent him. I'm a known name here, so people know not to mess with me. Plus, anyone stupid enough to believe his lies would be dragged down to reality when I presented them with my evidence. Eric said he would make me beg for mercy, but I knew it was only a matter of time before he would come begging at my door. I was right. One fine morning, while I was getting ready for work, there was a knock at my door. I was a little confused about who would show up at such an odd time. Imagine my surprise when I opened the door to find my soon-to-be ex-husband looking forlorn and weary. I invited him in because I didn't want to cause a scene outside my home. I was already dealing with enough. Once inside, I said, "Make it quick, Eric. I don't have time to waste on you. I don't even know why you're here. We were supposed to communicate strictly through lawyers." Yeah, about that. I haven't found a good divorce lawyer yet. Oh, that's sad for you, Eric. You better hurry up because I hear your mistress is dying to marry you. I'm not worried about her anymore. Listen, Astrid, we need to talk. You've been sabotaging my chances with lawyers so that they wouldn't take my case. That's very unfair. I immediately laughed when he said that. I couldn't believe Eric had the audacity to pin the entire blame on me. This once again showed how little he valued my profession. He thought that just because he was willing to throw money around, people would grovel at his feet. Oh dear, that's an amazing joke, Eric. Let me clear up that misconception for you. I haven't been sabotaging anything. It's your stupidity that's causing the trouble. I don't understand. What did I even do? Should I remind you how you lied to your lawyers about the affair and the prenup? That alone is enough to make them look like fools in court. Do you think lawyers would jump at representing unreliable clients like you? Besides, this is a small town and word gets around. Your reputation is catching up with you. I will admit that my name will make a lot of people walk away. You may consider me to be useless, but I actually do have a good reputation in this profession. Yes, I know that now, Astrid. I've tried being open with lawyers too, but none of them are willing to help me. Eric confessed, his voice laced with frustration. That's what happens when you try to go against an ironclad prenup. You really should have thought your affair through, Eric. Not that it matters now. The damage is done. No sane lawyer would fight for your cause. You'll be giving me half of your business, I said firmly. Eric's face showed his distress. He didn't want to lose his business, which is why he tried to hire a good lawyer and drag out the divorce. His plan was to keep me hanging long enough until I snapped and left without demanding my share of his company. After a few days, it became clear to him that no one would take his side. He was even finding it hard to find any lawyer willing to go against me. Desperate, he resorted to crying and begging. Astrid, you know how much this business means to me. Please don't do this. You can take everything else, but please don't ask to split the business. Why not, Eric? You are the one who put in the clause about splitting the business in case you cheated. Do you think I will give up my rights that easily? I deserve it after the betrayal you threw in my face. It was all a mistake, Astrid, believe me. I've actually put my relationship on hold because I know what a big mistake it was. Maybe, just maybe, we can give this marriage another try. I can say for sure that this hurdle will only make us stronger. Eric's words made me laugh out loud. The audacity of this man was unmatched by anyone I knew. I didn't know what to say. It was actually asking to get back together, as if I would be foolish enough to do that. I didn't know that he had put a pause on his relationship with his mistress. Rumors were out that neither the mistress nor Eric was happy. But if he thought this would make me go back to him, he was dead wrong. I had already made the mistake of marrying a man like him and learned my lesson the hard way. Plus, I knew why he was suddenly desperate to get me back. You must be delusional for suggesting something like that, Eric. There is no chance of us getting back together. You can keep dreaming, but it's not going to happen. This marriage is over, and you need to accept that. I'm taking what's rightfully mine, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. I didn't come this far in life by being utterly stupid, Eric. I know you want to get back with me because you don't want to split your business. Astrid, we were happy together. Let's just look past this one time and restart our marriage. I will cut off my mistress, I swear. Eric pleaded. There's no reason to do that, Eric. Believe me, that woman will run once she finds out you won't be very rich after the divorce. As for me, this is my golden chance to get out of this sham of a marriage. I must thank you for showing your true colors before we had kids. Now, you will reap what you have sown. With that, I was done. Eric kept begging and pleading, asking me not to take his business. It was a pathetic scene, but it didn't move me. Instead, It reminded me of all the times I cried myself to sleep because of his betrayal. Seeing Eric vulnerable gave me a sense of satisfaction and closure. Now, I needed a clean break to start fresh. Karma hit Eric hard and fast. He tried for weeks to change my mind and make me come back, but I ignored his pleas. I was ready to move on. Since he had already filed for divorce, I hired someone from my firm to represent me. I'm not a divorce lawyer, and I wanted minimal interaction with him. After a month of trying to change my mind, Eric was forced to hire a lawyer and agree to a mutual split. The prenup made it easy for me to get the divorce. I had plenty of proof of his infidelity, and as per the prenup, he had to give up half of his business to me. Though he wasn't happy, he had no way out, so he signed over half of his business. We offered to let him buy me out, but he had no money left. Why? He had spent it all on his mistress, who was now ignoring his calls and texts, realizing he wouldn't be rich anymore. She had earned a reputation as a gold digger, and no one wanted to date her. But the mistress was the least of Eric's problems. With half of his business gone, his earnings were severely reduced. He had to sell his house because he couldn't afford the mortgage or maintenance. Now, he's renting a condo, a serious downgrade from the mansion he used to own. He even tried to get back with me, hoping to regain full control of his business, but that's never going to happen. As for me, I'm doing well. I've appointed someone to manage my share of Eric's business, and things are going smoothly. With the income from my law practice and the business, I was able to buy a new mansion and upgrade my lifestyle. I'm living my best life and couldn't be happier. In the end, the divorce played out well for me. Instead of being played by my ex-husband and his mistress, I ended up bettering my life and ruining theirs.